I'm Jessica Minton for IB Times TV, reporting from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where stocks were down today after data showed that a slowdown in economic growth overseas is hurting the U.S. Data showed that business activity in the Eurozone shrank for the fifth straight month, while weak demand overseas is hurting U.S. factory growth. Joseph Greco, who's the managing director at Meridian Equity Partners, is going to be speaking with us about the Federal Reserve's latest comments, the G20 summit, and the outcome of the Greek election. The Federal Reserve delivered another round of monetary stimulus on Wednesday and said it was ready to do even more to help the U.S. economic recovery. The central bank expanded its Operation Twist by $267 billion, meaning it will sell short-term securities and buy long-term ones in an effort to keep borrowing costs down. The program was due to expire this month, but will now run through the end of the year. The Federal Reserve announced yesterday that it's going to extend its monetary stimulus program. What are your thoughts on that, and how likely is this going to help the U.S. economy?
Well, there was much anticipation in the last week or so that we were going to get Operation Twist, or more of it, rather than the actual easing, QE, whatever you want to call it, for the shorter dated securities. And unfortunately, that doesn't bode as well for the economy. The longer dated, mortgage linked support is not really going to build short-term gains or add to short-term gains in the economic recovery. What it will continue to do, though, is build that very elongated base that we are going to need as we progress down the road. What they really want to see before intervening any further on a short-term basis is that the economy is actually hobbling rather than just slowing off of the bounce and the move up that we had for the last 6 months or so.
European leaders on Tuesday rejected pressure to deliver quick new measures to fight their debt crisis at a G20 summit as they pushed for closer economic integration. European countries signaled they were considering steps to integrate their banking sectors, which is a major reform sought by the United States and other nations. And the G20 summit took place earlier this week, where Europe said they wanted to integrate their banking sectors. How do you think integrating their banking sectors in Europe would help the situation that's going on over there?
Well, there's obviously, separated factions as you cross over the state borders, but yet you have this one European Union. The central bank has control, but only so much, and everybody has, disconcerted and divergent efforts to stabilize their own finances. That was a mouthful. All of that said, bringing everything together under, one more concerted, effort would be great. The problem is, at this point, it's one more thing that isn't necessarily too late, but doesn't necessarily cause anything other than, progress down the road. It's not going to be a turnaround watershed event, but rather something that needs to be done at this point so they can hopefully continue off the bottom and actually stabilize first and then continue off the bottom without, more hemorrhaging beyond the likes of, Greece, Spain, and perhaps Italy.
3 parties forming Greece's new coalition government have agreed to ask lenders for 2 more years to meet fiscal targets under an international bailout that is keeping the country from bankruptcy. The swiftly formed coalition following elections on June 17th had vowed to seek changes to its economic program. The program has contributed to keeping Greece in its 5th year of recession and pushed the unemployment rate up to 22%. And with Greece, they had their elections on Sunday, and now the new coalition government is asking for a 2-year extension on their bailout program. What do you think the likelihood is that they will receive that extension?
Well, I've been wondering for almost 3 years now why this is taking so long to get to this point, and once again, there's extensions being asked for, perhaps even being considered. So it kind of is frustrating to continually see this. Full disclosure, planning for a trip to Greece in August with the intent that by that point we have either a markedly lower euro or more clarity as to a timeline for Greece to exit from the European Union. I do not believe that there are going to continue to be ledges that they can fall. At some point they're going to have to meet the ground that's below or land in the water and perhaps learn to swim on their own.
European Union finance ministers are set to meet today to discuss Greece as well as the possibility of a bailout for Spanish banks. I'm Jessica Minton for IB Times TV, reporting from the New York Stock Exchange.